Welcome to the Wire to Wire podcast. As always, it's me, your host Yusuf. Now, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, without further ado, let's just get right to it. Now, in the last episode, I brought up the hate that Andrew Tate was receiving. And a day after I put that video out, Meta, the company that owns Facebook and Instagram, banned him from their platform. And recently TikTok also did the same thing. So with this going on, it begs the question, was this the right or wrong decision for them to make? Now, I believe that this was the wrong decision for many reasons. Now, I understand what he said was considered controversial, but just because we don't agree with what someone is saying or we don't like how they're saying it or how it might make us feel, it doesn't mean that they should be deplatformed. Also, people brought up the allegations that were against him, but it's not like he was going on those platforms promoting, condoning, or even encouraging those kinds of behaviors of the things that he was accused of. So although people may not like what was said or they don't agree with it, it's not a justified reason to remove him. So if someone is watching a news program and they don't agree with something that the anchor is saying or how they're saying it, should that program then be canceled? Of course not. There's numerous reasons about why this is wrong. For starters, it seems like only one side of the spectrum is getting silenced. Now, mind you, I want to make this very clear that I am apolitical. I don't believe, affiliate, or associate with any political party or any ideology. I deal with things on a case-by-case basis. This gives me more objectivity to be able to share my perspectives. And as I'm observing, I'm seeing that people that are conservatives or they tend to hold conservative values or lean more to the conservative side of the spectrum, they are subjected to getting deplatformed on social media. This doesn't really happen to those that are on the left, and this creates an unfair dynamic, which ironically goes against society's whole mantra of equality. Now go figure. So anytime a person says something that they don't like, the immediate response is to just ban them? Whatever happened to tolerance? Now this can have worse consequences, which brings me to the next point. You know, part of what makes Andrew Tate so popular and people similar to him is that they are raging against the machine. When he's speaking, he'll sometimes say that I'm speaking the truth and they don't want you to hear the truth. And then when these platforms go and ban him, you're making the case for him. And that's only going to make his supporters dig their heels in deeper in their beliefs and support in him. You know, I remember I discussed this on my podcast, like back when it was audio only, sometime last year. It was about the reemergence of Kwame Brown on YouTube. You can probably find it on Apple or Spotify, wherever you hear podcasts. But I was discussing him, and by the way, shout out to him. I have a lot of respect for him. But essentially, what he was doing is he was exposing how full of cow manure sports media is. He literally said, play by play, this is how the powers that be in media will come at me. Here's what they're going to say, and this is how they're going to do it. And then those in the media, particularly Stephen A. Simp, Charlemagne, Matt Barnes, Stephen Jackson, Jamel Hill, they all came at him exactly how he called it. Now, whenever you have knowledge of self, of your surroundings, and you have your three eyes wide open, you can operate on a different level that lets you see certain things. So a guy like Andrew Tate, who is telling his audience that he is speaking the truth, and there are elements of truth sprinkled in what he says, but when he is telling them that he is speaking the truth, and they will do anything to make sure that you don't hear this, and then you go and do something like this, it makes these social media companies look bad, but it also gives him a lot of credibility, which defeats the purpose of what it is they're trying to do, right? So censorship can only work for so long. Just look throughout history. How many kingdoms and empires and those that were in power fell to the wayside because of censorship and limiting people's access to information? And you could even look at more contemporary examples, such as the Arab Springs that happened about, what was it, 10 years, over 10 years ago? Now, obviously, I don't believe Andrew Tate's situation is that extreme or severe, but it just gives some context to how harmful and unproductive censorship can be at times. Now, look, like I mentioned in the last video, you have to look at the circumstances and the reasons for why someone like Andrew Tate can become wildly popular. And it's not because he's catering to angry, bitter men like those woke media outlets are making people believe. It's because there is partial merit to it. Again, like I said in the last video, it takes judgment, discernment, and independent thinking to decipher what's being said. So in the short term, sure, you can ban people from platforms. But if the status quo remains, new people will emerge with a similar message. And you're seeing it already. The new people that come out, they will be more crass, more direct, more assertive, and people may find them to be more offensive if this is the kind of stuff that offends you. They will see what worked for him, and they will up the ante on that kind of rhetoric. I literally was saying this on the last episode that I did before these bannings took place. And here's the reality of the matter. We're living in a world where one ideology, particularly progressive liberalism, or wokeism as I like to call it, has become prominent, popular, and dominant. And with this binary world that we're living in, anything that appears to be the contrary to popular beliefs is immediately shunned or met with vitriol. Now, I'm not suggesting that society needs to be dominated by traditional conservatism either. What I'm saying is there needs to be a balance of ideologies, and there needs to be freedoms to practice and express your beliefs, kind of like the things that we're promised in a free society. But if we're going to call ourselves a tolerant and equal society like we allege ourselves to be, then that's something that needs to actually be practiced. But in reality, it's currently not in this climate that we're in. And as long as society remains this way, this will naturally create a counterculture that people who don't identify with the prominent ideologies will gravitate to. And these are the types of people that will feel that they're being condemned, shamed, ridiculed, or even have to hide their beliefs because it's not accepted or understood or tolerated. And the more these people feel this way or are subjected to this kind of reality, they will only be more fervor in their support for these counterculture figures. So Meta, what they did essentially is they cut their nose to spite their face. Because at the end of the day, his clips will still circulate. Maybe even more now after this on their platforms as people will continue to post it. And Meta has probably given him a lot more credibility than they ever wanted to. And they've opened the door for others to pick up where he left off. Plus, you're not going to silence him, and nor should he be silenced. He will still do podcast appearances. People will still want to have conversations with him and get his perspectives on various topics. So his name, message, and content will continue to circulate online regardless. So all you've done is make yourselves look bad while solidifying his reputation among his audience. So in the words of DJ Khaled,
congratulations, you played yourself.
Now that's all I got for today. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like and share this video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Was Meta right or wrong to ban Andrew Tate from their platforms? And subscribe to the channel because I have a lot more content coming soon. You can check out my books. They're actually right there behind me. And the link will be in the description. And you can also follow me on Instagram. That will also be in the description. Until next time. Peace.